I'm Lakeisha D. Howard, and I am running as an independent candidate for the Texas House District 124. I am a servant leader in our community who believes in the voices being heard. I am a retired Air Force veteran, as well as a retiree from the Department of Veteran Affairs. For me, this is not about politics and party. This is about our community voice being heard. We can only do that as one. And that's why I have elected to run as an independent versus being tied to a particular party. I am tied to our community, each and every one of you. I want to show transparency and accountability. I want our voices to be heard at our state capitol. I want us to show love and action because that's what brings community together. So vote for me in November 2026 as your independent state representative for District 124. I'm Lakeisha Howard. I love each and every one of you, and I cannot wait to hear your voice.
So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're viewing from. I'm Barbara Thompson with TNTV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach, and you're tuned back in to the coffee break, and we're talking a little bit more about what's going on with the Prince Hall Masons here in San Antonio. And but before we get started with the interview, I would like for our guest to introduce himself, tell us who he is, where he's from, what he does, why he's involved with Prince Hall Masons, all of that good stuff.
Well, good morning, good afternoon. As our host has already mentioned, my name is Burnell White Jr. I am a native San Antonian. I was born at the original Vancy. I am a graduate and alum of San Houston High, so I am a Cherokee, class of 77. Currently, I'm a past master over at San Antonio Lodge Number 1, where we are getting ready to, as mentioned, celebrate our sesquicentennial celebration the weekend, which will be the 8th, 9th, and the 10th. Myself personally, like I said, I'm a past master of San Antonio Number 1. I've been a part of the lodge for quite a few years, all the way back into 98, I guess. And I'm fortunate and blessed to be able to be here in San Antonio, my home. And so everything that we do from a philanthropic standpoint is critically important to me because I walk the halls of these schools, and when I get to go back and see the kids that are coming up today, I went to Cameron, Miller Cameron, Riley, over on Nebraska Street, for the old timers, now, of course, MLK, and everything, and of course, Sam Houston. But some of the things that we do, we try to go back into our communities and do things to help our youth. So whether that includes going and reading, whether that includes going and providing school supplies, which we do annually from the instructions that we get from the counselors and everything. So we try to make sure that our youth have the tools that they need, wherever that is. Mentoring, we do quite a bit of mentoring. Right now, we're looking at doing some work with some of the senior care facilities because we have a lot of seniors that are in some of these facilities and they may or may not have families. And that's a lonely place to be. So we try to get into those locations. Matter of fact, get exactly which date it is, but we have an ice cream social that we're getting ready to do over at Normandy Terrace.
Oh, okay.
And, so we're going to try and bring some joy over to those folks and everything. But part of the things that has a lot of impact on me, with the work that we have to do, it is almost insurmountable to do as an individual organization. And so what we find is that we need to partner with multiple organizations to be able to tackle some of the challenges that we see to include voter registration.
Mhm.
Everyone knows that this is a critical time politically. We are trying to make sure that we avail our community of ways to get out and make sure that their vote is heard. So we have programs from voter registration and education that we are deeply involved in. And we have been, as was mentioned when Burrell, as Mr. Farmer was talking, we are the first organization that was responsible for our rights, fighting for our civil rights. We have always been on the front line, and so that has not changed. We are, I hate to use the term now because it's so politically charged, but we are the original patriots of our communities, and we've also been the leaders in our communities. But in our partnerships, we find that there are things that we need to do as well. And so in 2011, I started the Charitable Foundation. And so right now, as the president of the Charitable Foundation, I'm also a co-chair for our anniversary. And I am the chair for the golf tournament. But we have done multiple things here with the Charitable Foundation, partnerships. We're registered with the city of San Antonio, where we do scholarships in our communities. We go back into the high schools and we make sure that we focus on those youth that are coming out and they're going to pursue education. So we try to make sure that we do our part in those communities and everything, and let our youth see us. One of the funniest encounters that I had was when we were doing one of our school supply drop-offs, and we would go in and talk to the elementary school students. And so, as I mentioned, I went to Bella County, and so at the time, I was what we call it deputy oasis, and it was a shrine there. But we were over there and we had just a plethora of school supplies, and so the teachers let us talk to them, and so they put it on me to talk to them. And so I was letting them know that I understood what they were going through because those were the halls that I walked. I actually went to Bella County, and you really find out whether or not you have the attention of the youth. This one young man was sitting there, and when I made that comment, he looked at me and he said, "Ooh, this school sure is old." And
he was listening to you.
But I knew he was listening to me, and I told him, I said, "I'm gonna keep a good eye on you." But we have to be able to go back into our community so the youth can see success and what that means. And being as blessed as we are predominantly in our lives, we're mostly retired military. There are some that are not, but we have been able to go out and do things in our communities to give back because we have been blessed with the things that we have been provided. So we try to make sure that we continue to do those things. I operated, as Brother Palmer mentioned, we also have an organization, we talked about the Prince Hall Shriners. For 10 years here, I was over all of the Prince Hall Shriners in the state of Texas. Additionally, we were part of an organization that was a part of the Deep South. It was 11 different states for 3 years. I was blessed to be able to be the president of that organization all the way through. So that's just my story. But I get to walk next beside Bill Palmer, and you see the things that he's doing in the community. And we just try to work to make sure that we have an impact on our communities and be able to celebrate from all the things that have taken place with those that came before us. Some of our historical figures, I think Brother Palmer mentioned a little bit, Brother Claude Black. Brother Claude Black was a member of San Antonio Lodge. When we went over to Second Baptist as a lodge, and we presented, if you see the big picture in there in black, we presented that to Second Baptist. So we have a long legacy that we are accountable for. And so we have to do the things that we're doing today to recognize them, and then we won't be around in another 150 years.
Right.
But hopefully, the things that we do today will stabilize things for the future, and then they'll be able to look back there and say, Pathmaster Darrell Palmer and Pathmaster Burnell White, did something that was significant for our communities. And, we don't look for anything that any accolades. We live by what we do, and hopefully it has an impact. So that's where we are today. We're just trying to do something that's going to be beneficial for our communities.
Wow. So this is great, great works and great, great information. We just never know what people do.
Right.
So that's why we're here with TAN TV to help individuals and organizations tell their story so that we will know the history of it. I wanted to ask you a quick question, and then we'll talk about the doctrine in a little bit.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask you, the things that are happening around our country today. Do you think that there's opportunity to get back out into the community and kind of bring people together, galvanize people, and support people?
Yeah, we have obligations that we take, and some of it, being a part of Masonry is misunderstood in a lot of ways. We're no different than a lot of organizations that, if you are a part of the organization, you understand and you know the things that go on. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a Greek organization, doesn't matter.
Right.
But one of the things that we are responsible for, and it is to be true to our country. We are to be advocates for our government, and that means that we need to understand the things that are going on and be able to speak up when the things are not right. And so when we start talking about our voter registration and education program, one of the key elements is the education. And so we have to get out and explain to people, because people can become complacent in our society, and we know historically we've seen that. When people don't vote, we end up finding ourselves in awkward positions. And so for us, we've already done the voter registration part. Now it's the education, and not to endorse anybody, but to get everybody to engage in our society, and that is to get out. Now, I think we have to believe that in our country, the things and the foundations are going to right themselves as long as America is engaged. It's not the first time that we've had those challenges. When we look back at our ancestors, unfortunately, we're dealing with some of the same things that they had to deal with. But the history and the lessons are there, how we sustain and how we get to the other side. So much true.
Wow. So that's great, great, great information as well, and something that we should take heed to, all of us. So you got a golf tournament coming up as part of your 150th anniversary. Can you tell us a little bit about what that's all about?
Yeah, this is another avenue for us to, first of all, raise funds. It is a charity golf tournament. All of those funds that we are able to generate, and it's a good way to generate funds, that goes back into the lodge, and that'll help us do all of the things that we want to do in our communities and stuff. So a lot of us do play golf. I play golf. I beat the ball up on a pretty regular basis. I usually get my money's worth, but we're just trying to get folks to come out, have a great day, fellowship on the golf course for a charitable cause. And so we're working really hard to make sure that it is a good experience. This is our first one. And so we're making sure that it's going to be a good experience, because we all participated in them, and I've actually run other golf tournaments and everything. So we know the things that are key to get people to come back again.
Wow.
Now, some of the members in our lives, when we talked about having this tournament, like, yeah, this would be the first one. Yes, and somebody's going to take the wheel on the second one. But, we hope that it is something that is going to be a revenue generator for us in years to come. We'll be out at Fort Sam, which is historical in itself. We'll be out there on the 8th, and we're going to have a good time. So we're hoping that those folks that are hearing us today that may not have heard before, that they'll get a chance to go to the lodge. And once you go to the lodge, the website, It'll tell you, okay, you can buy tickets to the gala. You can also register for the golf tournament. You click on the button, it's going to take you where you need to go and give you all the information. And we're ready to receive everybody that comes out. So we got plenty of room left.
Wow, so it's super exciting. So y'all know y'all like to golf, and you do golf regularly. So why not come out and golf for a great cause?
And there's going to be we're looking at folks coming in from different parts of the state. But the other thing that I want to put out there, even if you're not someone that's a golfer or whatever, we have whole sponsorships for businesses.
Okay.
That's $100. We'll put your logo and whatever it is that you have to say to the community.
Okay.
You want to drive, use a little bit of that advertising budget that you might have for your companies or whatever. This is a good opportunity to do it. $100 to sponsor a hole. We'll put you a nice, pretty sign out there, and people will know. If you want to put a QR code on there that'll drive business to your company, we can do that as well. So, and you can do all of that on the website.
Wow, so you heard it first. Well, I don't know if it's first because y'all are on Spectrum, but anyway, you've been tuned into the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. We've been speaking with Burnell White Jr. Those names are so similar, but we're gonna cut that out.
It happens all the time.
So I'm just gonna call him B&B.
B&B, there you go.
So thank you so much for stopping by and explaining a lot of the history and the services that you provide and offer to the community. And remember to sign up for the golf tournament.
May.
Yes, the 8th of May, sign up for the golf tournament. And also get your ticket for the blue banquet.
Right.
So, and it's going to be a celebration. So you don't want to miss it.
No, you certainly want to get dressed up and everything, guys. Your wives want to go and get that nice dress out the closet that they have. Bring them on out.
Or buy a new one.
Oh, buy a new one, yeah. You do that. But before you go, I just want to thank you for having us, and thank you for all that you do for our community as well, because it's great work and
Thank you.
utilizing the resources that are available. And you're valuable.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for tuning in to the Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel with the global reach. And thank you so much for joining us.